What up, people, and welcome to the book club with one mother, three sisters, and a whole lot of hot takes. This is the family plot. I'm Angel, the host and the heart of the crew, joined by my baby sister Cam, our resident conspiracy theorist. Say hey, Cam.
Hey.
And our mama Lisa, the matriarch and occasional voice of reason. Say hey, mom.
Hey.
We are joined by Glenna, my sister in law with the insightful takes. Say hey, girl.
Hey, girl.
All right. So here's how we get down. Each month, we discuss a book of our choosing, and every week, I'll share a brief summary of the chapters we've read, and then we each pick a discussion question to answer. We'll also share our first impressions, predictions, and whatever else comes up along the way. So if any of that interests you, pull up a chair, pour some tea, and get cozy as we get into this month's book right here on the family plot where every chapter digs deep. All right, ladies, we are back with week 3 of Bones at the Crossroads by Ladarian Williams. And if you give me a second, I can get our slides. Slide to the left, slide to the right. Okay, thumbs up if y'all can see the screen. Perfect. Okay, so going into week 3. Going into week 3. We're thinking. There we go. Okay. So, week 3. Savon and D-Lo campaign for homecoming court, but a homophobic confrontation leads to a fight that Dr. Davidson stops with magic. Savon becomes distant from Malik afterward. Malik and Dominique continue training secretly with Tituba in the Divine Elam while balancing homecoming responsibilities. Malik uses magic to spy on his mother and discovers that his ex-girlfriend Alexis is working with Lorraine, deepening his heartbreak and betrayal. After arguing with John Henry about their family history, Malik accidentally injures Tay during a magical outburst, causing intense guilt and forcing him to confront how unstable his powers have become. Dominique comforts Malik and encourages him to seek help from Dr. Davison, whose therapy sessions help Malik process trauma, grief, and his complicated feelings about Alexis. Malik continues trying to live a normal college life, participating in Hoodoo Heritage Month events, campaigning for homecoming, and growing closer to Dominique, while tensions with Savon and D'Lo simmer beneath the surface. Malik and Chancellor Taryn bond and share grief over the losses caused by Lorraine's violence. Malik's magical training intensifies. During an ancestral ritual, he sees a future vision of Cayman University destroyed and covered in blood, suggesting a coming war. Savon publicly confronts Malik for having privilege as a cisgender man and for emotionally stringing Dominique along while still loving Alexis. Dominique overhears Malik admit he still has feelings for Alexis, causing a rift between them. Malik reconciles with Savon and later makes a grand romantic gesture to repair things with Dominique, promising to fully commit to the present. Meanwhile, John Henry reveals his true reason for returning. He wants Malik to help him locate his long lost child so he can finally pass his magic on and join his wife in the afterlife. At homecoming, Savon and D'Lo win the crown in a historic moment for the university. The celebration turns dark when Malik senses something wrong and finds dead students nearby. When he turns to Dominique for help, she is revealed to actually be his mother, Lorraine, in disguise, signaling that Lorraine has finally infiltrated the campus. Ooh, Chile. That was a lot. That was a lot. Um, First impressions, ladies. Who want to go first? Mother, go for it.
I think Savon was so out of order.
I have no problem with him feeling how he felt, but he didn't have to put all of that on that boy. Cause let's be real, you ain't mad just at him. You mad at the society, but you took it out on him and in public. Cause when you start comparing privileges and all that other stuff, how come you didn't throw the other guy that was up in there running? Yeah, it may be true that he wasn't looking forward to it, but Malik has been, I'll go along with whatever y'all doing since he got there because he said from jump, he ain't know nothing. He's willing to experience everything. So why are you attacking him over your issues? Because I got a lot of feelings about that. I'm glad they resolved it, but I felt like the fact that he had to follow you up there and then you willing to apologize to him in private. No, your ass should have been apologizing to him in public. The same way you embarrassed him in public, you should have apologized in public. But again, that's just the way I was feeling. And this was as far as where we ended, gut punch, serious thriller. So yeah, I'm waiting to finish the rest of this because just to find out his mama infiltrated the campus after all of the stuff that the chancellor did. Yeah, it's about to get ugly real fast. And I'm going to need the chancellor to stop playing with this boy's hormones and emotions. Or stop playing with mine. Because why is it you going to take him and go Peyton and give all this in depth? And first it was Mr. Barron, and then you're going to start, oh, I'm sorry, Malik. It is what it is. If you ain't going to go and tell him why you trying to get all close and friendly with him, just tell the boy already. But that's as far as his uncle, John Henry, I'm glad he finally revealed his goal. And I'm actually curious at this point as to whether or not, because somewhere in the back of my mind, I started to believe that, and I said, wouldn't it be ironic if Malik's mom is actually John Henry's daughter and Mama Aya was raising her instead? But again, that's a whole nother theory of my own personal choosing. But with that, I yield.
Okay, I hadn't thought of that. Okay. Um, yeah, okay. I side with Savon, not on the public front, but he made some valid points. That's all I'm gonna say.
They were all very valid, and I'm not knocking the validity of his concerns. I just didn't like the fact that he used to bring his concerns out in an attack against Malik. You could have brought all of that to the forefront without having to publicly attack any individual.
Yeah, I don't disagree there. I mean, as much time as they all spend together as a group, this could have come up way before then.
Exactly.
But
And
I
yeah,
understand what can happen when you are triggered.
yeah,
It don't matter where you at, who you with, whatever. If it's been bubbling and you just happen to be out, that's just how it came out. I ain't saying it's right, but I understand.
yeah, because that guy wasn't even interviewing him. He was talking to Malik
Yeah,
and
he
Don.
just walked up. Oh, really? Tell
Yeah.
me how hard you have. Yeah.
Yeah, see, and that's what I thought was just wrong. And I'm like, what the heck? No. If you want your platform and your time to shine, fine, get that. But don't get it at his expense because he did nothing to offend you. He's been nothing but loyal and supportive to you. So
Yeah, I
that's the
agree.
only beef I had with that.
He definitely could have pulled him to the side because that whole scene was the equivalent of airing your stuff out on social media. Like,
Exactly. And
you know,
unnecessary.
yeah. But yeah, um, Glenna, first impressions, ma'am.
Um, First off, my theory that I'm more hoping for than anything else is that I'm kind of hoping that the I guess most recent descendant of John Henry ends up being Tay. While he's not outwardly magical, they keep alluding to him having um a connection and he's being drawn into the world and things of nature. So I wonder if maybe that has something to do with it. And maybe I don't know. Keep getting picking up little bits and pieces and how he instantly likes John Henry, how he instantly kind of just blends into the world, even though he doesn't have magic, but he doesn't have magic, and I'm using quotations here, but he still has an essence of immediately adapting to things. So I'm wondering if there might be a connection there. As far as I agree that while both sets of emotions were valid, having that argument in public should not have occurred. It should have happened elsewhere. But I there were some things said in that argument that could definitely have been kept behind closed doors. Because while Savan's opinion and his emotional response to the situation was completely and totally valid, he also completely dismisses everything Malik has been through in his life. Because it's like, oh, you're privileged. Yeah, but he also grew up, in the system, in the foster care system, and all kinds of, you know, things that, happened to him prior to being accepted into the magical world. And while he descends from, very powerful people like Mama Aya, he knew her for what, like less than 90 days before she died. So yeah, there's a lot to unpack in that situation. That conversation should have happened elsewhere, not in public. Um, but I'm very much a let's never, air dirty laundry in public kind of person. So that is also, coming up for me on that. But other than that, I have thoughts on how it ended, but I need to read the next chapter because I want to know what's actually going on. Is that actually his mom? Is it a possession spell like the voodoo spell that she had, the voodoo doll spell that she has, where she's using her but from afar? Is she actually on campus? Is that actually dumb? Because she went around the corner and he followed her. Is that actually her? So there's a lot of unanswered questions on what actually is happening. So I'm interested in knowing what happens there. But I agree. It was way too, everything's going all nice and well for way too many chapters before. Yeah. And also, how difficult is it truly to say, I am your father, or I know who he is, or I feel responsible for you because of XYZ, even if he's not Malik's father, he's giving the I feel responsible for your existence. Okay, so if you feel responsible, why? 5-minute conversation where everybody says what's actually going on. Yeah, I may or may I had to keep my inside voice because, being in a hotel room reading the book while, surrounded by my colleagues on all sides meant that I wanted to scream at the book, but could not. But it's definitely an interesting section of the book. We couldn't have picked a better spot to pause. So I'm very interested in the last section of the book. So, and with that, I yield.
Okay. Good stuff, Glenna. Good stuff. I agree. We're getting a lot of nods that Tay is an important character more than just the brotherly figure. But but I think we mentioned in the previous book and maybe even earlier in this one, I get the feeling that Tay might be the seer for the divine Elam. And I say that because, let's see, what was the, it was on page, well, I can't really tell you the page because I'm on the Kindle, but um, they were talking about the Great Mafa. John Henry was given a little bit of the family history, and um, the quote is towards the bottom of the page. It should be page 375, but it says, teachers at school be telling Brigitte that he's real good at history and stuff, be knowing stuff before they even land on it. Tell them what it means. This is what John Henry is saying about Tay. So I'm like, huh, you be knowing stuff, huh? Okay. There, I had another note somewhere, but I don't feel like scrolling in the Kindle to get to it. And yes, why are you feeling responsible for old boy? You giving out rings with signets and stuff, painting, talking. Is you the boy's daddy or not? You're right, Glenn. It could be a 5-minute conversation. Luke, I am your father. Like, anywho,
Especially a family ring.
A family ring. Did nobody want to like stop? Malik, you couldn't even be like, I can't accept this. Oh, yes, you can. Why? That y'all doing a lot. Anywho, Cam, first impressions, please.
Everybody covered it.
Okay, fair enough. Let's get into the questions of the night. Cam, I'll let you take the first pick.
Betrayal and deception.
Deception. Lorraine disguising herself as Dominique at the end of the chapter is a major twist. What does this reveal about Lorraine's strategy and about Malik's vulnerabilities?
His vulnerability always lays in a girl. Period, point blank, bottom line. It's always a girl. Last book, his only vulnerability was Alexis and her relationship with Danye. This book is all things Dominique. And then 5% Alexis on the side, but it's all things Dominique. Now, Lorraine, I don't know how she figured that out. Probably had something to do with Alexis because she's been working with Alexis on the side. However, Malik's dumbass needs to stop going to investigate stuff. Just stay in the moment and go tell the superior because you clearly don't know what you're doing. Every time you go investigate something, a fight break out, you get hurt, you get kidnapped, whatever the case may be. You don't need to be investigating anything. Now, Dom probably really did go to the bathroom. It could be. She probably did go to the bathroom and Lorraine found her moment. Dom could be dead in the bathroom. Who knows? There's another room full of dead kids. Who's to say? And then Lorraine used that little knife thing that she had that Malik said was to suck out the soul source and power of another. She could have used that from Dominique, and one of those powers that she got from that was to take Dominique's form. Nobody knows. We don't know yet. We can suspect all the way up and down. But Malik had his guard down because it was Dominique. I personally, when reading this, and he was talking about these bad feelings that he felt, she's talking about some, you okay? No, let's go check it out. No, Malik, don't go check it out. Stay where you are in that large room full of people. If we know one thing, Lorraine is a coward. She ain't gonna do nothing in front of a big group of people because she's outnumbered. She's almost always outnumbered when it comes to confronting Malik. Every single time that she has encountered Malik so far in this book, it's been Malik and Dom versus her and that other professor. We don't like him. I'm not worried about his name right now. It's been the two of them, and with the tuba on the back end. It's been Malik in a dream, and then she realized at the last second, and he phases back out. Or in this instance, Malik and about 11 other people. It's homecoming. She definitely is outnumbered. Now, do we know at the moment if anybody else is with her? No. But she used the one thing that makes her son vulnerable. Well, two things. Memories, because he said when he walked in that room, it was the exact same scene from 10 years ago. And then a girl. So we need to grow the hell up at this point, because you can't keep taking L's over no girls, bro. Because it ain't worth it. And I'm tired. And I yield.
Period and point blank. Um, I just realized I didn't do my first impressions, but I feel like everything on my list we had kind of covered. Oh, except when Savon confronts Malik, I felt like I got a little peek into why Elijah feels so invisible. Because if that's the energy your sibling brings, you would just kind of make yourself small if that's like your all day, every day. And I can see why that would make him want to seek out treatment with Dr. Davidson. That's it. That's all. Everything else we already covered in my first impressions. Mother, what will be your choice this evening?
I would say love, lineage, and growth.
Love, limerence,
Oh,
and
limerence.
growth. Yes. Dr. Davidson introduces the concept of limerence to help Malik understand his feelings for Alexis. How does this idea reshape Malik's understanding of love, and how does it affect his relationship with Dominique?
Okay. How does this help Malik's understanding his feelings for Alexis? Well, number one, it helped him to identify why his connection was so strong. First with Alexis, um, and dealing with that and showing him it's not necessarily love, but it is a very strong connection. And it was because, you found yourself to be different and you were in a situation without, your family, that you found something similar in this girl. And yeah, even though you all were separated, you really didn't know her then, but you found some similarities and you felt safe because she did not hold back her powers. When he met Alexis, she was manipulating her stuff in the backyard, so to speak. And he felt a connection because he recognized he had some of them same powers, but he was afraid because of what he experienced when his powers were unleashed. And like the doctor was saying, your connection with her was not necessarily love, but you gathered a very strong liking to her because of the similarities that you all had that made you feel safe. And then when you stroll on over to Dominique, here you do have very similar potentials, but now you are afraid to step out on feelings for her because you believed, but because of what you experienced with Alexis, the betrayal and all that other stuff, it's almost like because you don't trust your own judgment in dealing with your feelings and emotions, you're afraid to go it, you're afraid to step off into more than just a basic friendship with Dominique. You know you like her, you know you feel something toward her, but you are holding back because of your fear of what happened with Alexis. Is it understandable? Yes. Who in the human body don't do it? We all do. But he's actually got an opening to understanding why he's feeling the way he feels about it. Because he admits to himself that he likes her. He would love to do more, but he's afraid. And I think Dr. Davison, thank goodness for counseling and open safe spaces that Dr. Davison actually hit a hit a nerve where he truly could understand and begin to absorb the information and reflect on it so it can help in motivating him to move forward in his life. Now, does that mean he's gonna open up and let Dom in to moving past just friendship status? Not at this moment, because he's still in the back of his mind, despite understanding his feelings for of why he felt the way about Alexis, he's also afraid because he got his mama out here doing all kinds of craziness. And if Alexis can portray him, anybody can betray him, which is in the back of his mind. So I understand his willingness to still just wait and build a true friendship with Dominique. And now he understands completely why it's so important to not just be physically attracted to her and connected through magic, but to just to truly build a friendship with her, even though he knows he feels more, and there's nothing wrong with that, because in the real world, that's pretty much what you want to do. You want to get to know a person before you just jump right in. um and I think with that,
I think you're right. I think we all ideally want to have a genuine friendship before we move into them romantic waters. That's my logical brain. My other side is like, okay, dog, but y'all sharing funnel cakes. Y'all, you over here having all these romantic moments, and you got to be around each other all the time now that you're both in the divine Elam. Like, why fight the feeling?
because just like his mama and professor and the chancellor, they had them feelings, and mama still turned out ragged.
You know it. Okay, you're right. That is a legitimate fear. I can see that.
Because yeah, it's a legitimate fear, because let's call it what it is. Mama started doing her thing, and he understood that the chancellor really had feelings for his mama. And he like, okay. So at this point, I understand he does want more, but he's not moving on it because he's right in the midst of a whole bunch of already difficult relationships. You got to deal with, you still grieving Mama Aya. You got this uncle over here doing his thing, and thank God he finally reveals himself. Then you got this girl that you believed you was in love with, but now it's more like imprinted. It's more like, how they did in Twilight, more like you imprinted on her. And but even in that, understanding that people you care about can be, turn evil. I understand him being distant right now because he's got all these other things to worry about. He's got to worry about learning what he need to learn in the divine Elam. And it's great that she's a part of that, because they can learn, their friendship can deepen even the more on his journey of learning about what he needed to learn, and then still supporting her. We know he cared about her. He brought her back from the dead. It's the given. And I think that part alone makes him draw even nearer to her. But yeah, he got all of this crap with his mama he got to deal with. He got issues with his friends going on. He just getting to the point he and what the name? Savon and D'Lo and them didn't start talking again. So he got a lot of relationships going on that are not, he and his brother was out on the outs. No more extra drama. Let's not add love relationships into this right now. Let's get through what we got to get through. Let me repair the stuff I already broke and move forward.
Question. Just group. Knowing all of that, knowing everything he already had on his plate, is there anything he could have done to not lead Dominique on? Other than not asking her to run with him for the homecoming activities, because that to me was big mixed signals. But anything else he could have done?
His ass could have been upfront about Alexis and been done with it. Hey, I am truly feeling you. However, I just got over dealing with this, and I'm really struggling with my feelings about that right now. As much as I don't want you to be a rebound. So I don't even know if you feel the way I feel, but if you do, can we start our friendship and just work on that for right now?
A 5-minute
conversation. Ain't that what we be talking about? Just a 5-minute conversation.
So many books could not be books with just a 5-minute conversation.
End of the day, straightforward 5-minute conversation.
Oh my God.
And it won't take a whole 5, because knowing her, she gonna be like, well, I'm feeling you too, but I appreciate you being upfront with me. So even if they had them romantic moments, she would know to not look so hard, not gaze so deep into his eyes. That stuff would already be innate, because she know he coming off. He want to be with her, but he don't want to be a rebound, and so she gonna keep it casual because he didn't already put it out there. 5-minute conversation. That would have been the help right there.
If you don't want me, then don't talk to me.
But that's just it. That's part of that 5-minute conversation. I do want you, but I want to make sure it's you and me, and it's not me rebounding. Can we just work on our friendship first?
Which eventually did happen after the grand gesture just totally failed. But they had that conversation, so thankfully. Glenna, what question would you like this evening, ma'am?
Healing versus power.
Healing versus power. Malik repeatedly struggles with his magic hurting people he loves, like Tay. What does the story suggest about the relationship between emotional healing and responsible power?
That in reference, they kind of go hand in hand. Because until he started going to therapy, he had little to no control over his power. He was just, if instinct told him to let his power rise, he let it rise. And because even in the Divine Elam, where he's supposed to be studying, if something shifted, he just went with it. And just letting his power and his magic guide him without any thought of consequences is what got him in the situation where he harmed Tay to start with. And I think we do see, after he starts seeing Dr. Davidson, that he's more thoughtful in how he uses his power after that. Especially when he was going through the grimoire directly after, he definitely is like, okay, my magic is telling me to do this. Is this a good thing? Yeah, I kind of think this is a good thing. And he kind of went with whatever was happening. But you could see the thought process of him going, okay, should I go down this road or should I not go down this road? And I think while it's unfortunate that Tay had to get hurt in the process, I don't think anything short of Tay himself getting hurt was going to make Malik be more mindful. Because he's very much been I don't need help. I don't need anybody, telling me how to think. Very much I've got this. I can do this. If I've been given this magic, I need to use it, rather than the more conscious utilization of his skills. And in most circumstances, when people are going down those roads, they really need to hit a roadblock that means something for them to take heed. And I think that's what he needed and what he got. But because as much as his magic hurting the people he loves, mainly the one that is next in line was when he hurt Alexis in the end of the last book. But as that was more infatuation rather than genuine care, because I don't think he ever truly seeing her again, that was more infatuation of trying to cleave onto his childhood that he was denied in meeting her again. I don't think he actually truly had feelings for her. It all kind of fell into place too easily, too fast for it to be genuine. But he truly does care about Tay. He's cared about Tay. He's taken care of him. He's protected him for, at this point, roughly a decade. It's that kind of commitment and interaction and community in between him and Tay that had to be shaken for him to kind of see the damage this was causing. And I think he did. Because I think he thinks more now since he hurt Tay. Might not be thinking 100% clearly, as, I'm going to go look for the things I shouldn't. When I get the, eerie feeling, he should still be asking for help, but he at least thinks about how his magic affects the things around him first, at least now, anyway. And with that, I yield.
Yeah, I agree. I think they're both hand in hand. Healing and the responsibility of that alone, right? Just and then you just throw having magic on top of that. That's good stuff, Glenna. Good stuff. It's me. I guess I do. Oh, okay. Oh, we went in order. So I got this one as the last one. All right. Identity, privilege, and community. Savon confronts Malik about his cisgender privilege and the challenges queer students face on campus. How does this conflict highlight different experiences within the same community? So a couple things came up for me about this when I think about marginalized communities. I think we get, like, if we're not part of that disadvantaged portion of the community, then we really have to take a step back and ask ourselves what being an ally to that demographic really looks like. And I think a lot of times we assume that it means that standing in solidarity is it. Like, we just sharing the same experience. Like, you going through some rough stuff, and I'm gonna go through it with you. But I don't think that's the case. Or maybe that's only a part of it. I think we would all do well to define our allyship not just by sharing in the struggle or sharing in the experience with that person or that group who is marginalized, but actively calling out injustices when we see them and actively lifting up those disenfranchised in moments where possible. So, I mean, at its base level, if I'm thinking about somebody who's in a wheelchair trying to watch a race over a fence, I'm not thinking that my allyship is just standing next to you behind the fence where I can barely see too. Allyship to me would look like, let me find a crate that I can put your wheelchair up on so we can both see over the fence. And I think that's what Savon was trying to get at in some of his argument with Malik when he called him out. It's not that, like, we know Malik down for Savon. Like that's his and let me check myself. I was about to say that's his boy, but then that would just be me misgendering Savon all over again. Like, he down for Savon. They are very close. And we saw that at the top of this group of chapters when he stepped in to check old boy for being homophobic. So we can't really deny his loyalty there. I think this whole argument, this whole conflict, it just highlights that the oppression people like Savon face isn't, I mean, oppression in general is not uniform. You know, even though they got magic, everybody has their different challenges, like, you know, the trauma that Elijah is going through, confronting systemic injustice like Alexis was trying to do. Some people just experience their burdens based on their identity or how they choose to show up in the world. And Malik was, yeah, he's new to all of this, but his initial obliviousness about it is just a reminder that privilege can be invisible to you until you have somebody like Savon to point it out. And yeah, that goes back to, you know, when you are confronted with that, then it's your responsibility to be accountable to that. And initially when I read it, I thought he was attacking him personally, especially because he ain't have to throw that jab about Alexis. But in a lot of ways, I reread it, I'm like, oh, he's trying to hold him responsible in the way that his position affects other people on campus. Because it's not just Savon that is on campus identifying as queer. There's a whole house of transcendence who does. And that solidarity I think he was looking for from his friend requires not just awareness, but active support in that same community, even when you're sharing the same experience, like homecoming, being on homecoming court. So yeah, I think this whole scene just teaches you being a part of any community means acknowledging the differences in your experience and using whatever privilege you may have as a man or as a you know, however you are on the totem pole of society, whatever privilege you have because of that, using that to uplift somebody else, rather than just assuming that y'all all in the same boat just because you're having the same challenge. And I think that's what Simone was trying to get at. Like, yeah, we all here. Yeah, we all Black. Yeah, we all magical. Yeah, we all, you know, may have been born with the same parts, but you don't know my struggle. So because you don't know my struggle, if you see a moment where I'm not being uplifted, do that. So, and with that, I yield. Yes, mother.
Okay, here's another 5-minute conversation that needed to happen.
Period. Point blank and the period.
Because like you said, he has already proven without a shadow of a doubt that he is 100% in support of you and your choice. Same thing with D-Lo. D-Lo is in the midst of the same type of struggle as his partner Savon. But when it comes down to it, D-Lo didn't go on attack. And then if you need me to show up a different way other than what I'm already doing, 5-minute conversation. That could have been very easily said, you know what? Because we recognize he was feeling some kind of way that he even got nominated. And let's just put it out here, instead of having the white elephant be in the room, that would have been a prime time to say something about that.
Well, hang on. I'm glad you brought up D-Lo, because that D-Lo experiences a different kind of privilege in that he's masculine presenting. So being that he's Malik's roommate, that also further makes him oblivious, because you don't get that same opposition when you and D-Lo step outside as you would if you and Savon were roommates. So that just puts him in a position to, again, not have it be up in your face until it's up in your face.
But again, even had Savon had been his partner, because like he walked in identifying that D-Lo had a different preference, and he said, "I like what I like. You got a problem with that? Now, bro, do you?" And he's in support of that. So when he met Savon, same thing. I'm in support of you. So, and he showed that by, getting in trouble for fighting for them. So all I'm saying is, if in fact Savon, you want to point out that he has his privileges, and I was in agreement with Glenna when she said he totally negated the fact that he didn't. Yeah, he has the privilege of not being looked at crossways because he's male, but he also struggled, not because of the identity he chose to the lifestyle he chose, but he struggled because he didn't have the privilege of growing up in a 2-family household like the twins did. I mean, he didn't have the privilege of having a stable home life. This kid was bounced from bounce, and he still walked in being open and accepting and is down for the cause. So yeah, I get what you're saying. Whatever privilege I got, stand in support of it. But hey, a person who's coming from not having been exposed, saying, I'm open to be here to support you, even with all of this stuff that's handed down to him and he don't know what to do with, a 5-minute conversation. Hey,
hang on.
bruh,
So
I appreciate you. Can
So again, what really triggered all of this and kicked all of this off wasn't just a random interview, but Malik's answer to the question of that interviewer generalized
because he generalized his response.
Yes, he was basically saying, well, I think it's hard for everybody. And so having such a gross generalization in the presence of somebody who literally has it harder from a social standpoint is enough to get gone off on, because I think it would be the equivalent of, a group of minorities and, a few white
So white
students
folks saying that everybody had it hard.
Oh yeah.
Kind of like Trump saying that they need the white men need reparations because they were unjustly not hired.
Yeah, it's tough times for us all. But is it really as tough of a time if
for you than it is for the others?
Concern is I can't pay my mortgage this month,
right?
Versus somebody who is on Section 8 and on food stamps and cannot even afford to purchase a home in the first place. It's a very different struggle. So that's I think where Savon was coming from, is that while it is technically true, yes, everyone does have it hard in the homecoming royals process, his struggle is particularly unique. So that I think that just sounded hurtful coming from somebody who just a few chapters ago stood up for me against the homophobe. Like, it ain't true that it's the same for me and you. That's where I was coming from with that.
I get you. I kind of feel, I see where you're coming from. But like I said, in the same vein, yeah, and why wouldn't he? And I guess he does it. That truly shows that you don't know your friend, because in his mind, he can't do anything but generalize. He's not been exposed, and if you how would he know the path that he's walking? That's why I said I didn't agree with how it was happening. I understand him being triggered by his response, but at the same time, your responses and the way you act is based on your exposure. He ain't been exposed to that for real. The boy grew up in homes. And I mean, you may have got a little bit of it, but his focus in life from the last 10 years, from my understanding, was hopping from or we don't know how much exposure he had. Let's say that, because the book never talked about that. But his struggle growing up the last 10 years of his life, after not being with his mom, was focused more on staying safe and covering Tay. Nowhere in there did he talk about battles or challenges with somebody, with somebody gay, lesbian, homophobic, transgender, none of that other stuff. So when you get faced with it, this is a new reality for me. And that's what I'm saying. You recognize that just in dealing with him on a casual scene. So yeah, for him to generalize a statement, yeah, come on, let's talk about the exposure this person had.
Yes, but Mom, you're proving my point is that to be a true, not even true
You
friend,
say a
but
true ally.
be a true ally means to look at the world not just from your own lens, no matter how much you've been through. It's to look at it as this is an experience, not even just life, but homecoming royalship, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is this experience just as hard for all the participants as it is for me? No. And that's what the question was from the interviewer. Because y'all even the seniors were coming from two, very different experiences. Having been at the school longer, they have a higher level of pressure. Even, I think that's what was really the undercurrent here, is that you're not, even though you have spent time with me and we've been friends and you've seen my struggle, you haven't considered my struggle through through a different lens. You're still looking at the experience we're going through only your lens. And that's what allyship requires, is being able to say, if I was in the wheelchair, what would I need? If I was in a non-cis het existence in an actively prejudiced environment, trying to break through a barrier, what would I say to this question?
And I still go back to, it's a 5-minute conversation kind of situation.
It is a 5-minute. I agree with you there. Like, they definitely could have had that conversation.
That's definitely a 5-minute conversation, because the fact that you were triggered by that,
but the reason the reason they didn't have that conversation, I believe, is because your actions have been saying, yeah, I'm here with you, yeah, I'm your friend, but my answer to this question says, I still don't see you. I still don't consider your view.
I don't think, and that's where I disagree with you. That's where I disagree with you, only because I don't know. Me personally, life in general is hard. In this particular context, you're running for something you know nothing. Because let's be real, that's why, to me, when he made that general statement, he meant it was that everybody has it kind of hard, because everybody's experiencing something different. It was hard for him because he never experienced it. He didn't understand what it all entails, but he saw Dominique working so hard, and then he see them campaigning, and he sees, so he's like, everybody's got a little kind of hard in his mind, because he's seeing the different things people are going through in the process of this, and he is oblivious to it. So in his mind, it's kind of hard, because I'm trying to wrap my head around what my expectations are as well. So in terms, a general statement means I generally see everybody struggling here, but he took it to the level of his struggle being so different because of, his identity. And true, that is part of a struggle, but that doesn't say that he and Dominique, that he's not struggling any less. He's struggling, but for a different reason. And that's when I said, when he made that statement, he made a general statement because he honestly believes everybody, I think, is struggling here a little bit. And like you said, it was a very general statement,
I
but
don't.
that's why I believe it, because
I'm
he
not
even
blaming.
said he didn't consider that. And he, when Dominique was like, we gotta do this, you gotta do this, he was like, this is a lot going into this. And he didn't understand. In order to be successful at this, you got to do this, and yeah, that was, he admittedly was like, huh?
Yes, I'm not knocking Malik for not having the experience. We all
But
kind
that
of.
was no, but that's what I'm saying. When he made that general statement, it was because he too was experiencing difficulty, not the kind Savon was. Savon was talking about his life experience, his experience of difficulty in life and how it relates to not just that campaign, but life. Malik was talking strictly campaigning. It wasn't about your world is, they were talking about conceptually, they were talking about two different things, but utilizing the same forefront is what I'm saying. Because when he made that general statement, it was general in the sense that it was about, in his mind, and this is how I took it. So that's why I said I agree to disagree, because I took it he was talking just about the homecoming proceedings. And you're right. As an ally, he wasn't looking at your life experiences, the seniors' life experiences. He was dealing strictly from what he was witnessing, because he noticed how hard they were campaigning and all the different stuff they were doing. He noticed what the other couple, the the heterosexual couple was doing. So, and then he was like, and everything that Dominique was coming for. He was talking about the realities of campaigning just for this event. He wasn't looking at it on a global scale. And that's why I said, when he made that general statement, he was like, yeah, kind of difficult for everybody.
I agree with you, and that's precisely my point. You're
I
only
know.
looking at
That's
this,
that's why but
and as an ally, it requires you to look at it all. That's all I'm saying. But no, I
well,
do. I agree, because he don't have that capacity right now because he's new to the magical world. But it
that's
doesn't
my
mean
point. He
it
don't
doesn't
have
mean the
you're
impact.
mad at him for something he can't even give you right now, because he
And
ain't
all
at that
I'm saying
capacity.
is, it does not change the fact that the impact of that lack was still felt by Savine.
Yeah. Well,
The only thing I'm going to add to this is that I have no problem with the way Savon responded to the situation. My only issue with the entire interaction was that Savon could have taken him aside and said, "Hey, that hurt, and here's why," instead of doing it in a public fashion.
exactly.
Because
Yes.
instead of being something that, again, the 5-minute conversation, it
That's what I
became something so much more.
that's
It's
all I
not
was
so
saying.
much how Malik was looking at the situation and how Savon responded to it. It was that the correction could have happened privately.
That's all I was saying. That's what I'm saying. You're right. At the end of the day, a 5-minute that could have been handled with a 5-minute conversation. So, and with that, I yield.
Well, ladies, we are wrapping up this book next week. Any, I would say predictions, but I think we all got a pretty good idea of what's to come based on this last chapter. Um,
Well, I feel like based on that little riotous scenario, that Savon and D'Lo probably gonna win.
how far did you get?
I was at 35 with the rest of y'all. Cause I can't see with all of this happening and all this stuff going on. It's either gonna be Savon and D'Lo, or Dominique and Malik,
Mom.
but I don't believe it's gonna be Dominique and Malik because of what just happened with his mama at the end.
Because
Just
I
now.
was like, who gonna tell her? Go ahead,
Um,
Kate.
we were supposed to read through 35.
Oh,
And
Because
that
we
tells
know who won.
okay.
So I'm gonna need you to do that. Mhm.
Anywho. Okay.
That's why we all looked at you like that. Because
Well, fine then.
I'm sorry.
I ain't gonna spoil nothing for you. I'm just gonna say I'm gonna need you to do that.
Well,
Mhm.
now, then they did win. I mean, ain't no
Mhm.
problem. I know the seniors didn't win.
Mm-mm. This wasn't about
What
them.
about them?
They was irrelevant characters.
That's why I'm saying is they're relevant characters at this point.
Mhm. So
Why you
did my question not make no sense to you?
what?
The question that I answered, did that not make any sense to you?
Cam's question
Hers
specifically
Was about the end of chapter 35.
yeah.
Oh, that's right. Okay, sorry. Airhead moment. Sorry. Gotcha.
That's why we were like, so how you know this happened, but you don't know what happened at the because it was dance and ending events of Cam.
That's right. That's right. I totally skipped that. Okay, I had an airhead moment. I do, because I was there for the whole. Yeah.
Girl, is it
Sorry.
Perry? Is that what they
I had a moment. I had a moment. I'm entitled to a moment. It was a rough day.
Okay, girl.
You think I
That
don't
is
know
what.
that?
Huh?
You think I don't know that?
I know you know it because you already laid down.
All right, ladies. Any conclusions or lingering questions for next week?
I'm ready to get this battle scene over.
I'm gonna miss it.
What you say?
Say again.
I'm kind of
She
bummed
gonna-
out. I'm gonna miss it.
Are you sure? I mean, because we can hold off till
Push
do
it
Friday?
up, or because I don't know how long it's gonna take to be healed.
oh yeah, the dental surgery.
Well,
Yeah.
would you be willing? It. Well, do you think after 2 days
I
you
will
would
still
be?
be swollen.
Yeah, we'd either have to just do it on a
That's
Tuesday.
why I said unless we do it Tuesday, I won't make it because I don't know how long it's gonna take.
I'd rather
Well,
you speak about your opinions without being swollen. So yeah.
yeah, because she was all in my face about this section.
Okay.
Mhm.
Clearly,
Yeah, you did. For you not to say nothing about your opening predictions, and you walk up on me talk about some. Did you read so and so? Because I was pissed.
I
So
was
yeah.
screaming on the way to work this morning. I was.
So I'm
Do
gonna
we
need
need
for
to
her to
hold
be
off
able
for a
to.
week?
Well, that's the thing. With the gravity of the procedure itself, I don't know if after just 1 week I will be in a comfortable enough state of healing to talk for a long period of time.
So if y'all want to conclude on Tuesday, I can push for that.
Okay.
That's like 6 days
I
away.
But that's why I said it's up to y'all. Because
keep
if
that in
more
mind.
than a week is too much, then I'll just miss the end.
I'm okay if we hold off for a couple of weeks, let you heal and kind of see how things go. Because your healing is important, but I'd like to have Angel have a little more time than just a few days to
Yeah,
prepare.
that's true. It's got to be fair to her too.
Well, I do the majority of my reading on Sunday, so I can be ready by Tuesday. If y'all don't mind reading by Tuesday, we can make it happen. But
Yeah,
for
Wednesday,
those who
Thursday,
need a
Friday.
little more time to read, I don't want nobody to feel rushed either.
Yeah.
I'm good. Because I got
Okay.
Because
it's
we on
how do
spring
you
break
feel,
starting
Glenna?
Friday. So I got time. So I can be ready. But I don't want nobody else to feel rushed.
I can read by Tuesday. I just was giving
Yeah.
options.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
Well,
I'm
Tuesday it is. It sounds like a plan.
Epic
Tuesday.
finale.
Okay.
Huh? What'd you say?
Okay.
Epic finale. I can't wait for number 3 to come out.
Yep, I've already pre-ordered. Yay.
Same. Waiting on my phone call from being in now.
Okay. Alrighty. Well,
All righty.
Right.
Well, till next Tuesday, ladies. This has been the Family Plot. Every chapter digs deep. Bye.
bye.